When my high school suddenly closed down, I had 2 weeks to find a new one, and like most rash decisions, I made the wrong one. I suddenly find myself in my senior year in a new high school, and this high school in particular has 12 classes with one final at the end of the semester and another final week at the end of the second semester. This particular high school focuses on social sciences, which I love, but there's a lot to be studied. And on top of that, I have one mandatory yet elective workshop. I have piano, guitar, or cooking class. This takes 4 hours a week that I very much need to be studying. And so I, like Foucault once said, I'll take care of cooking class in the summer. It's 3 months into it and I'm falling behind. And if I don't want my grades to get bad, I just need to change schools. So I rush to the Ministry of Private Education of Buenos Aires and I request to be changed to a regular school that has A classes, like all normal schools. And unfortunately, I am too late. The employee tells me that to be changed schools in the middle of the school year, it would have to be an exception on a very rare case. I asked, what case? And they said, well, I don't know. A teacher would have to punch you or something. And that's it. I cannot jeopardize my grades, but I'll do everything it takes to make one of these teachers lose their mind until a fist lands on my face. The first week of finals comes around really fast and I didn't have any chance of getting punched in the face. So now I have to really suck it up and go through this test and hopefully my grades will not get any worse. And the first test is going to be political science. And when the teacher is reading down the list of students who fail, my name comes up. I rush to the principal's office and I request that a second teacher reviews my test because I have been unfairly graded, hoping this will be like ridiculous enough that it will get violent. It doesn't, and for the first time in the history I've ever heard of, in a private high school in Buenos Aires, a final gets reviewed by a second teacher and I get a B. I make all sorts of different attempts and nothing is really working. I have another final. This one is called Action and Reflection Space. Doesn't sound like a class to me, but what the hell? Their final is a self-test where they kind of ask us how we are doing. I use this opportunity to voice my discomfort. When they ask me, how do you like the school? I say, I don't. When they ask me how I like the teachers, I say, I don't. When they ask, how do you like your schoolmates? They're cool. Like, surprisingly, I am actually making friends. And I hand this over, and I just leave the classroom. And a couple seconds later, a companion of mine just rushes to me and says, Eliana, you need to come back. Professor says that if you don't write any more words, you're going to fail. And I'm enraged. And I rush back, but I take a second, I take a deep breath, and I remember that I'm here for the long game. And this is a perfect punch in the face opportunity. So I sit down, and to my one-word responses, I add 2 more words. When they ask, how do you like the school? I say, I don't. It sucks. When they ask, how do you like your teachers? I don't. I really don't. I don't dare to suck there. When they ask, how's your classmates? I say, oh, they are cool, except when they have to call me back to write more words on a self-test or I will get failed in a very suspicious class. I hand it over. No punches. I'm very disappointed. After like a lot of crying, a lot of not sleeping, and basically just feeling like terrible, I make it through the school year. The second round of finals is just as bad as the first one. But I don't know, I just feel like very much defeated and a little bit relieved that it's almost over. Except for cooking class. So now it's the summer, and I have to sit through this last exam. And I'm sitting there, and I'm going through the test, and everything's all right, except I get to a question that says, what is the interior temperature of a point blue steak? And I cannot believe I went through months and months of reading about Foucault and Marx and Rousseau, and I'm gonna fail over the temperature of a piece of meat. And then I remember that according to Foucault, a prison and a classroom are surveillance devices for the teacher to oversee everything that's happening, but most importantly for the student to feel like they are being watched at all times, even if they're not. So I raised my eyes and I noticed that just like I expected, the teacher is browsing through an old magazine. So I reach for my booklet, I move to the midsection, and I find out that the interior temperature of a point blue steak is 40 degrees Celsius. I write it down, hand it in, and I leave that school forever. Well, not forever. I had to come back to pick up my diploma. But at this point, I'm just very defeated. I feel like if I had actually accomplished my goal, I would have finished high school much more relaxed, much more happy, in a different place. But because I did not, I am here, and I actually looked like a very tedious teenager who was just acting out over nothing. This is not my personality at all. And I go see my grades, and I notice that action and reflection space is not in there. Surprise, surprise, it was not an actual class. And I realized this teacher couldn't actually fail me. This teacher was teaching a fake class, handing out children fake tests, giving them fake grades. And that's when I realized that even if the teacher didn't punch me in the face, she would have really liked to. Thank you.